Welcome to the Ages of Rock podcast with your hosts Bill Algie, Dennis Talbot, and Alan Tate. We are three guys who have one thing in common, a love of rock and roll. Our goal is to talk about all things rock. We hope you find this show intriguing, funny, and occasionally highly opinionated. Enjoy! Welcome to Ages of Rock podcast. This is episode number 68. This week we are going to be interviewing so close. Singer-songwriter Erin McAndrew. But before we get her on tonight, we're going to talk about some concerts and shows that these two yahoos have gone to see this past week. Dennis.
I'm a yahoo?
What happened to Bill? That's the polite term. Bill,
Bill's
you got to quit moving around because you're changing focus.
I went like all fuzzy.
Yeah, you never looked better, Bill.
I know. I had extra hair. It's kind of nice.
It's just white, big white blob. Okay.
Right.
No, anyway, I went down to Saturday night. We actually had a Saturday night concert in Evansville. How about that?
A Saturday night rock concert.
Exactly. That's even more unusual. But anyway, we went down and seen Asia and Journey, and I went and I was like, yeah, we'll see how it goes. You know, I was really kind of excited to see Asia because I had not seen them before. But when John Wedding died, I was like, oh shit, you know, this is going to be sucky. And I didn't realize how many people were still in the band. I figured it was just, I really didn't do a lot of research before I went. Actually, this first concert, I haven't looked at the actually set list. I just kind of went in blind, and we get there and I was like pulling it up just to see who was in the band Asia, because I figured out it's basically just going to be a tribute band. And unbeknownst to me, Jeff Downs was playing keyboard and Carl Palmer was playing drums. So basically it was, 2/4 of the original Asia. And they had a guy named
Kiss,
Billy.
Right?
Yeah, there you go.
Those Kiss, you got half the guys there, half the
But
originals.
Now,
they had,
those two originals that are still in the band, they
Right.
were Asia's a super group basically that from other
Right.
bands, or were they studio?
They were a super group. So basically, Carl Palmer's from Emerson Lake Palmer.
Okay.
Jeff Downs, he's played a lot of people. He actually was on the Bugle. Remember the Buggles or the Bugle, whatever the
Buggles.
the Buggles. The video killed the radio star. He
Yeah.
was in that band. I know he's been in other stuff. Of course, and Steve Howe was in Yes. And I don't remember who the other original guy was. But anyway, they had Billy Sherwood took over Wedding Spot. Matter of fact, they even Carl came out at one point, and they put his picture up on the screen, John's picture, and talked about him passing away. And he said, before he passed away, he asked who he wanted to put in his place, and he said that Billy was the only one he wanted in that spot, and he did a real good job. Tell you, man, Carl Palmer is a 67-year-old drumming freaking monster. I mean, he puts these 20-year-old, 30-year-old people to shame. I mean, he's out there. He did beat the hell out of those drums, and I was really impressed. The sound for a opening band, it was as good sometimes as a regular band. They had it mixed pretty well. At first, it was a little bit off. The vocals were almost too loud. But they played, basically, I knew every song that they played. They played basically just all their old hits. They played about 40 minutes. And then Journey came out, and I mean, just tore it up. I mean, it was just hit after hit after hit. The sound quality was probably the best I've heard in a long time. I mean, it was just super duper duper clear. Neil Sean, he was on fire. And I'm telling you what, man, at Arnell, that little dude, I'm telling you, I had a theory. I was telling, cause we went down with Amy Dingman and her husband and my wife, Kelly. And we were sitting there, and I made a comment. I said, I got a theory about Journey. I said, I think what they do is they keep Arnell in a little box, a little crate, and they only let him out for concerts. And then when he comes out, because the dude never stopped. He was like a chihuahua, man. He was just just nonstop. I mean, I've never seen somebody have so much energy in my life. And then I'm sure after the show, they just put him back in the box and they wait. You come out 24 hours or whatever.
Lock him up.
Hey, Dennis, let me interject a couple of things here real quick.
Sure, go ahead.
For anybody that's watching the video, you notice that things are kind of choppy. Dennis and I are actually sitting in the middle of a pretty decent rainstorm right now. So I'm sure it's affecting our cable internet. So
Sure. So I noticed you
just
jumped
pay no
there.
attention to blurry Dennis there. And the second thing I would like to interject is it's John Wetton, not John Wedding.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
Yeah.
anybody that wants to correct Dennis, I already did it for you. And
But,
one other thing I want to ask is, was there an opening act before Asia?
no, there was not.
Okay.
It was just two. No, like I said though, Arnell's got a different. I mean, he sounds better than probably Perry ever sounded. You know what I'm saying? He's not. There was parts
Come on,
there,
man,
Bill.
that ain't right.
No
Way.
He's better than Perry can sing now. I guarantee.
Well, that might be, but he can't be better than Steve Perry was back in
He
the
was
day.
damn
Not
close.
way.
He
No
was
way.
damn close. I gotta give the little guy credit. He's got a different style of singing though, because he's a little guy. He can't. He's like he doesn't. You can tell he's not taking in a lot of air. He's just kind of sometimes midpoint. He has to change a little bit. So he's got a different singing style as Steve Perry. But no, and I know that Alan and I talked about that the other morning. He asked me how he did because I guess he had some issues last tour.
Yeah, I saw him in Indianapolis 2 or 3 years ago, and he was struggling to sing some of those songs.
There was a couple. I mean, there was a couple notes that are. I mean, they're so high to start out with, and Journey hasn't tuned down yet. They're still, singing them, same tune that they were before.
Another difference is we saw them in the summer at whatever Deer Creek is called now. So
Clips.
singing outdoors in the humid air, that probably had an effect too.
And I'm sure his crate was really hot that day, so we got how he was probably dehydrated.
Noah told me they're going to be at Clips too. They announced that show coming to Indy, and he wants to go. So
honestly, Bill, it's a really good show. I seen Journey a few years back when they had that other singer. I don't even know what his name was.
I have something to say about Journey and the Eagles here shortly.
Okay.
Go ahead and finish what you're saying.
But I seen him here, a few years ago after Perry left, and they got that other guy before Arnell come in, and it was okay. It was one of our concerts at Toyota, and I was, it was okay. This concert here was really good. They had it was fairly bare bones. Had a big video screen behind them. Not a whole lot of. They had confetti. Excuse me, at one point, but it was just hit after hit after hit.
So tonight is it tonight the awards?
I don't know. It may be. They mentioned
Hall
that.
of
They
Fame?
said that they introduced them and they said, yeah, these guys are going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Blah blah blah. I don't know. Is it tonight?
I know Steve Perry was supposed to be there, but he's not supposed to sing.
I don't think he's singing. Nope. I heard that too. Neil Sean tweeted something about. I think Jonathan Cain said something in the order of be glad to see him and something else, and then I guess Sean made a comment about what he said. Cain's getting different information than him and his management or something like that. So, I don't know if there's some love lost in between Sean and Perry or what. I don't know what's going on there. But it wouldn't be bad to have him up there for one song.
There's got to be some butt hurt going on there, considering that before Steve Perry came into Journey, they were kind of floundering.
Right.
And then when Perry came in, turned them into the biggest radio act of the 80s.
Right. Oh, exactly.
It's the 7th.
And he gets a piece of all of that too, whether he's on tour with them or not.
Perry wrote a lot of that shit.
Yeah, he gets a piece of all of that. So.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, what was you going to say there, Alan, about...
Well, I was going to bring something up about... Oh, stupid thing. I hate that when I look something up and it tries to wants me to download a app. The Eagles and Journey are headlining the East-West concerts. Headline Classic East-West. Saturday, July 15th is the Eagles, Steely Dan, and the Doobie Brothers. And Sunday, July 16th is Fleetwood Mac, Journey, and Earth, Wind, and Fire. And that's Classic West at Dodger Stadium. And Classic East on Saturday, July 29th is Eagles, Steely Dan, and Doobie Brothers. And then Sunday, July 30th, Fleetwood Mac, Journey, and Earth, Wind, and Fire. And to answer your question, Glenn Fry's son is filling in for Glenn Fry.
Cool.
The question you didn't ask.
Those would be
Right.
2 good shows, man.
Yeah, I hope they get recorded.
I wondered
I'm
if
sure they will.
because that's what I wondered if they did something like that. I'm surprised they're doing something so quick because they basically, I think, didn't Henley say that was it? Basically, once he was gone, that would probably be it.
Yeah, but if you
And so,
wave enough millions in your face, man, it's hard to turn
right.
that down.
But I wonder why James Taylor did not James Taylor, but God damn it,
He's not in that band. That's why he
no,
didn't.
not James Taylor, Jackson Brown, because he did it. They were really good friends, and then Jackson Brown did that. Was it on which show was it?
It was the Glenn
They
Fry
did the
tribute.
No, it was on an award show that they played with those
With
guys.
the Eagles, yeah, but it was a tribute to Glenn Fry.
Right, exactly. But it was on one of the was it the Grammys or
That was
the
probably the Grammys.
yeah. But
He was
anyway,
on Spotify.
they've been real good friends. If you watch that documentary, the Eagles documentary, they were and Jackson Brown, they were real good friends for years, and that's why I wondered if they ever did anything, if Jackson Brown would fill that position. It seemed natural.
Well,
But I guess his son would be the obvious.
somebody,
If he can sing.
one of the DJs on Sirius XM said that Glenn Fry's son was taking his place. So,
I mean, I know if I'm ever sick and our band needs somebody to fill in, I don't think I'm gonna put my son in it.
well, your son doesn't really
He can't play. I know.
doesn't care for your kind of music anyway. So there's that.
No, he's a good kid. He's just not musical. Be like putting Bill.
Mine is. I was sitting on the couch the other day. He was like making all kinds of noises. I was like, dude,
Right.
stop that.
He didn't get that from you, did he?
What?
All right. But anyway.
All right. So
Bill,
I went to see a show called the Rock and Worship Roadshow. So in Christian music, there's 2 shows that come out in the winter. One is Winter Jam, and then the other one is, and I went to earlier, and I saw 1,000 Foot Crutch there. For me, that show, 1,000 Foot Crutch opened. They did 3 songs, and then I was ready to go home. So we stayed because I was done. That was the reason why I went. That's how it works. Those are usually pretty short sets. And then Friday night, I took Noah and his girlfriend. We went to see the Rock and Worship Roadshow, which this year was headlined by Stephen Curtis Chapman. So Stephen Curtis Chapman's been a songwriter for since the 80s, late 80s, and has written some really cool stuff, and I like his music a lot. And it was cool. It was the 3rd. They ended the tour tonight or Sunday night. They were done. So, but it was, they didn't really have any. Well, they had Family Force 5, which you need to look up some of their stuff. They've got some crazy ass stuff. They're kind of goofy. They have what's a song? They have a song called Chainsaw, and it's pretty wacky. When they start playing it, people go bananas. It's kind of funny.
Right.
It's definitely they get dressed up in goofy outfits, and it's kind of crazy. But anyway, it was good. We had a good time, and I enjoyed it. Like I said, I like Stephen Curtis Chapman. I'm reading his book right now. He's got a book out about his life. And
That's cool.
it's pretty cool. So for me, it was very timely.
I did want to bring up one more thing real quick before we go to the interview, but the Carl Palmer, I was reading back to his, because I wanted to find out how old he was. That's why I went to his website and talked about he's 67 years old. He played with the Crazy World of Arthur Brown. You remember we were talking about that?
Kidding?
He was a drummer in that, so that's how long he's been playing drums.
Now, that Arthur Brown, is that shock rocker?
Yeah, he was like the first guy.
The pre-Alice Cooper Godfather of shock rock.
Yep. That's one we talked about in our
that's right.
Our episodes. But when I seen that, I was like going, "Oh my gosh, he was with that." That's crazy.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, but anyway,
he didn't blow himself up or anything, huh?
No, I guess not. No, he still plays. He's got all of his digits.
How long was the Journey set?
They played right at 2 hours.
Really? Oh, that's pretty good.
That's good. I tell you what, they're with it. Steve, the drummer? What's his name? Steve. Is it Steve Smith? No, that's not right.
That's correct.
Is it correct?
I think that's right.
Steve Smith.
Dude, I'm telling you what, there again, drum solo. Not a real big fan of drum solos, but you talk about a technical drummer. That dude, they had the camera on him real close, and he was doing this. He laid a stick over here as he was doing just basically he was doing like some drum thing. He does it using the old style too, where he's got them, instead of using it like this, he's doing the old style. Anyway, but he put his one stick over here, and he starts doing it, and he takes his hand, he's tapping it like that, doing these rolls on a snare drum. I'm like, good Lord. I mean, it wasn't nothing like, he wasn't, playing all this bullshit. It was just the technical. And then I was talking to Amy later and said he's got a ton of DVDs out. I guess he does a lot of
instructional videos
on technical drumming. And but there again, you look at that guy, man. Every one of those guys are old. I mean, Journey, those guys are, and they sound great. I mean, they're just, they're just awesome. Journey, and like I said, every song they play, you're singing along, kind of like REO. It's just a good time.
Well, that's one of those bands too. It's kind of like they put something out new every couple of years, and it's like nobody cares.
Right. Oh yeah, they didn't even try, and they didn't even try.
They want to hear all the hits. Don't even go there.
And I did a live feed. I don't know if you've seen it. The video doesn't look very good. I think it has a smudge or something on the video.
No, that's the bright lights on your phone.
Is that what it is?
Oh yeah. Every time I've ever tried to capture video at a concert, it's just a big white.
I've had it clear before, but this for some reason it looks like there's a thumbprint on it. But the sound, you can tell that that's the first song of the concert, and I mean it just kept getting clear as a night.
It looked pretty good though.
Yeah, it did. It was a good show. Of course, we were sitting.
Was it sold out?
They had the curtains down all the way around the stadium, so they had them. All the seats were open. It didn't look like it wasn't a sold out show. There was, there were some seats here and there, but it was a pretty good crowd. I mean, it was a bigger crowd than normal rock show in Evansville. But we got to sit up here at Amy's husband. They got the Sonatrol. They got a skybox, so we got to sit up there. So that's nice. You get to go in the back way and elevator up and bathrooms. There's no line. It's a nice. I like that. I don't have to mess with anybody.
Can you guys hear the music? Noah's playing guitar upstairs.
Every once in a while I hear a little something, but it's nothing distracting.
Hey, this is a rock show, There's nothing wrong with it.
He sounds better than other people.
There you go. If you were playing a guitar, you'd be like, Bill, can you please put that down?
Can you turn that off, please? Is there a way you can stop
You're supposed to strum the guitar, not chop it like firewood.
Oh, sorry.
That guitar that you posted today, that bass.
Use a drumstick on a guitar? It's not a cow
bass that had the headstock for the body and the body for the.
Yeah.
That's funny as shit.
That Stig Peterson always has weird basses like that. He's got one that looks like DAD.
Oh, I didn't know who that was.
Yeah, okay. That's that Danish band.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I tell you, I was mowing the grass yesterday out there, just mowing away. This song came on. I'm singing along. I'm like, dang, this song rocks. And it was. You want to guess who it was? Last couple of years. Something we just caught up on in the last couple of years.
I don't know. Nickelback?
Inglorious.
Oh, Inglorious. That's good stuff.
Man, it was, gosh darn, that's some good stuff.
I want to see them in concert.
I do too.
I would love to see those guys.
It was really good. I was like, that is awesome.
Are they going to be out there at Rocklahoma?
Well, Inglorious?
Yeah.
I
Are they one of the bands?
So.
I figured
if they're one of the bands, they're either one of the bands playing on the side stage or they're playing so early in the day that their name is fine print.
Well, if they are, you need to do that. Oh, and by the way, I posted that thing on our website, on our thing, that banner that's about the concert supposedly in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Of all those. Now, if you go through there, it's funny. I want to see how many people can figure out what movies all those things are on. I was going through the other day, and I can get most of them. But they're, like Sonic Death Monkey. That's the band that Jack Black had in High Fidelity. Remember? Whenever he was in High Fidelity.
I've not seen that movie.
That's a good movie. But Wild Stallions, that was from Bill and Ted. And then Steel Dragon, and then there was not Wonders, but the O Neaters, or however they spelt it. That was in That Thing You Do.
Oh, that's the Wonders.
Yeah, but it's spelled O Neaters. That's what they. But there's all kind. If you go through there, it's so funny. There's some of them in there that are just whole, and then you start laughing because it's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that movie. And every one of them is a fake, except for Guar. I don't know why they put Guar in there. But,
well, they probably put Guar and Andrew WK in there to throw people off.
Maybe, but every one of the other ones are actual, just ones off the movies. But anyway, That's all I got for right now. So you want
All right,
to get ready
folks.
to go?
Next time.
All right. So,
Here in just a second or two, we'll be talking to Erin. Stay tuned.
all right. Stay tuned.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us tonight singer-songwriter Erin McAndrew from New York City. Erin, introduce yourself.
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Erin McAndrew.
Cool. How you doing?
And
How's the
cut.
weather?
No, kidding.
And we're done. Thank you very much. How's the weather up there? Good?
Actually, it's finally feeling like spring, so that's good. The past few days it's been in the 60s, and that's great. So it's getting better. I'm not a winter person. I actually absolutely despise winter, so I'm glad that it's starting to be on the upswing finally.
Good. Winter
right
makes
there
me kind
with
of
you.
angry too. Turn
Yeah.
very evil,
Yeah, I know. It's just not fun.
dark, and sinister. I don't
Yeah. People just aren't as happy in the winter, you know? I don't like that.
Yeah. Dennis is typically not happy all four
Anyway.
seasons, so it's really kind of cool.
No, but I live in southern Indiana, so it's winter in the morning, it's spring in the afternoon,
That's
we have
exactly
winter again, then it's summer the next morning, and then we have fall, and then it changes in the Indiana like every other. It goes from 70 to 20, overnight. It's just crazy.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
Can't get used to
it's
it.
crazy.
So you're in New York City. Where do you live in New York? Are you in New York City or outside or? You have
Well,
to give us your address because this will go out to millions of people. Millions of people showing up at your door. Hey, hello.
right? Well, technically I'm in Queens, technically,
Oh,
but
cool.
that's part of New York City, so close enough. But I'm in the city every day for work, so I mean I'm here, so
We were actually just looking for a tour guide, so we're gonna come up there. We were just looking for somebody
Totally.
to show us around.
I love showing people around. I mean, I've lived here for almost 13 years, so
Oh wow.
So
Yeah.
are you a transplant from someplace else, or is that something that you've been
Yeah,
there your whole life?
I'm originally from Pennsylvania, so I grew up there for most of my childhood and high school years, and then I moved up here when I was 18 and never left. So
Gotcha. Okay.
Cool. So has that had a big musical influence on you then? You think
Oh, yeah.
being in New York?
yeah, for sure. I mean, I was always that type of person when I lived in Pennsylvania. Once I came to New York City, I was like, okay, yeah, I have to live here, and I knew it would have a huge influence on just the amount of exposure that you get to music here is so much greater than there. I mean, because it's obviously big city, smaller town, so the amount of bands and music that you can actually see is so much greater than a smaller town,
So, are you influenced by the music scene in New York City, or do you have specific artists and bands that you've been influenced by? Or maybe a little both?
A little bit of both. I don't go to as many concerts as I used to, unfortunately. But that's because a lot of the times I have my own gigs and can't go, which is a good thing, I guess. And so I'd say it's a little bit of both because I've had a lot of bands and artists that I've been influenced by. But it's definitely impacted me being here in New York, seeing the music scene, being inspired by going to different concerts, and seeing people live. So a little bit of both, I'd say.
Cool.
Yeah.
So do you go to clubs to see music? I mean, shows up there, or is it big theaters, or is it kind of a hodgepodge of both, or?
Yeah, it's like a hodgepodge of everything. I mean, throughout college, I wasn't as active in the music scene as a performer. I was more on the business side of things, learning about music business. So throughout college, I was in the concerts club at my school. We would organize concerts for the university and whatnot. And so really through that, I would go to shows almost every weekend, and they were usually in small little clubs and, coffee houses and venues like that. But I did also like going to like the bigger shows and, at the stadiums and like Madison Square Garden or like Radio City and any of the like big name ones that everyone knows. So
Right.
That's
a
cool.
hodgepodge of everything. Yeah.
So you study music business? Is that where you have a degree?
I studied actually radio,
Oh.
was my major. But that had also a lot to do with music business. I did a
Mhm.
lot on the business side of radio when I studied. Also, I was on. It was kind of cool that they had a radio station where I went to school at Hofstra University on Long Island. So I was able to have my own radio show. So that was really fun as well, and that also influenced me. And then I minored in music. So I minored more in like instrumentation of music, took a few different music classes and whatnot. But yeah, so
Oh, cool.
yeah,
So that's been a part of your life for a long time then.
absolutely. Yes.
How long have you been playing?
Um, as far as playing guitar, seriously, I mean, I've known how to play a few chords probably for the past 10 years, but seriously playing probably I'd say like 2 or 3 years. Singing, that's a different story. I've been professionally trained in singing for probably like 8 to 10 years. Or sorry, I took voice lessons for 8 years, but I've been singing like trained professionally since I was maybe 13, if that makes any sense.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you're talking about like I said, your influences. What were some of your early influences? You really didn't say as far as like specific wise. But I mean, just I was listening to your album yesterday on Spotify.
Oh,
Spotify
thank
got it
you.
on there.
Yeah.
But
Spotify owes us
I
a
could
penny.
tell some. What's that?
I said Spotify owes us another penny.
Yeah, right?
They owe us like
That's like
68 cents now because either he or I bring up Spotify every episode.
But you're now a member because I talked about it so much. So there you go. So, but no, I was listening to your album yesterday, and you can kind of. I mean, I don't know. To me, there's some influences on some of those songs. To me, it kind of sounded. That's why I was kind of curious. Some of those songs have some. To me, I can hear a little bit of other people in it. That's why I was just curious to see what some of your influences
Yeah.
were.
What type of people were you hearing? Because I'm curious, because then I could tell you, oh, that is
Like
my
Never Settle. That's kind of a rock, kind of more of a rocking
Yeah.
tune. It kind of sounds like the Donnas. I don't know if you ever heard of the Donnas.
Oh yeah, I've heard of the Donnas. Yeah.
But it kind of had a little bit of that vibe to it, And then
Yeah.
there was another one I think earlier on the Jesse. To me, there was kind of had like I don't know. It's an early '80s kind of Belinda Carlisle-ish kind of
Yes.
Go-Go's kind of sound to it. That's why I kind of
Yeah.
So that's why I was just kind of curious what some of your influences were.
Yeah. I mean, they've changed. It's crazy because they've changed so much over the years. I feel like as my style has changed. I mean, when I was a lot younger, I was unfortunately, now it's like embarrassed to say, but like when I was in high school, I listened to mostly pop. And now that I'm older, I'm like, why did I do that? Because my musical influences are just so much broader now. I love a ton of like classic rock. I mean, I can't pick just one because there's just too many. I find a lot of those influences, or that I'm influenced by a lot of that. And a lot of recent singer-songwriters, like female singer-songwriters.
Jewel was one of them too. I kind of picked up where.
Yeah, Jewel. And even like some of the ones that like you don't hear of as much, like Sean Colvin and I mean, obviously Alanis Morissette's a big one for me too. She was always a big influence. I've always loved and been a huge fan of Joan Jett as well. So
Never Settle had a
Never
Settle had a little bit of that. When you said the Donnas, I kind of thought of the Donnas because it has that. It sounds like you're doubling your voice on some of that stuff, and it kind of has that Donnas feel to it.
Yeah.
But it also, like you said too,
Yeah.
I heard some Joan Jett in there also. That's why it kind of sets up that way also. And
yeah,
that's cool. But there was another one. Like I said that was it. Don't Need You Anymore. One. I can't remember which one it was, but I even texted Al. I said it sounded like it had kind of a I lost my train of thought. Alanis Morissette kind of sound to it. Also, that's why I was gonna.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, how long? So the album came out in 2016, right? When did it come out?
It came out last June, right at the beginning of June. So yeah, And I'm actually going into the studio to start recording an EP tomorrow. So
Oh, cool.
going right along. Yeah.
So
Now,
do you,
are
and
you?
I don't think we talked about the album's called Skeleton of Life, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
cool. I want to make sure we get that in there so that if any.
So is it on iTunes also? I know we mentioned Spotify, but is it
Yep.
available?
It's available almost anywhere where music is sold, so or like streamed. So it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, it's on iTunes. Where else? There is another place. Oh, Amazon as well. Yeah.
Cool.
Now you
So
said
what's go ahead.
Go
I think
ahead,
we're
Al.
going to the same place.
Yeah, cut it out.
Go ahead,
Cut
Alan.
out.
you're going into the studio to record an EP tomorrow. Is this going to be?
I am. Yeah.
Is this going to be a self-produced EP, or do you have someone lined up to? What's your recording process?
What's my recording process? Okay, so as far as like from song start to finish, or
Well, I mean, going into the
just
studio.
like when we go to the studio.
Is this
So
going to be is this going to be self-produced, or do you have somebody helping you produce it, or?
So I do have a producer that he's a really good friend of mine that I've been working with on and off for the past 10 years. And he's going to be producing my EP. And we kind of collaborate on a lot of the songs. So I go in, I play what I've written and the melodies that I have, and then we kind of work off of that and then create all the other instruments, like we add in drums, bass, electric guitar from what I bring in with my acoustic and my voice from what I have from there. So that's probably what I'll start with then, and then we'll build off of that. So we work really, really well together. So I always like working with him.
So who do you use for a band then? Do you do most of it yourself, or do you?
So so his name is Dan Nelson. And I work a lot with him in the studio. So he usually lays down a lot of the tracks for guitar and bass.
Oh, okay.
And then then we have a few people we may bring in for drums, or he may do drums as well. I may throw in some more electric guitar, but I usually throw in the acoustic track and the vocal tracks, obviously.
Typically.
Do you
Yeah.
have?
Cool.
Is this EP? Does it already have a title, or are you still working on that?
It doesn't have a title as of yet. That I'm still working on. It's kind of like fun. It was really fun last time writing all the songs because it was like almost a full album's length. Whereas this one, I've really just been writing the past few months, and it's different than what I've been writing before. A slightly different style. So I'm very interested to see how it goes when I go in this time, because last time it was a little more poppy and it was like my first album. So I was working out the kinks and just kind of getting to know like the recording process more. And now that I have a much better idea and that I've been performing a lot more in the past year, I've, see myself going a slightly different direction with my music, and I'm very excited about it.
Cool.
So are you going more like to the? Go ahead, Al.
I was just going to say, you talked about performing more the last year. Do you have? Do you perform throughout the week, or do you work a full-time job and then do work on the weekends?
So yeah, so I do have a day job, and then I do play a lot, mostly Fridays and Saturdays. So this weekend I'm actually playing 2 shows in New England. I have a show in Connecticut on Friday, and then a show in Newport on Saturday. And they're most of the time at vineyards. I play a lot of vineyards, and they're cover
That's
gigs.
cool.
So I play mostly covers. And then I throw in an original in there from time to time as well. So
Southern
yeah.
Indiana's become this wine hub, so we've got a lot of people.
Oh,
now.
has it?
I mean, it's supposedly.
They're
I guess
everywhere.
it's when, and they're basically saying that I don't know, for some reason our ground and the weather is perfect for this kind of grapes that they're doing. So anyway, we've had, like I said, almost, if you go up Interstate 64, almost every exit now has a winery. And every one of these wines have acoustic type music every weekend stuff. So there's a lot of that going on around.
That's
here.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, send some, if you have any good recommendations, send them over my way, because I'm looking to create a winery tour eventually. So any recommendations you can give, I'll stop stop in Indiana on my way.
Sure. Cool.
We can
That's
do that.
cool.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So how long is a set usually? I mean, so thinking about it's April in Connecticut. Is it an inside venue or is it an outside venue or is it it's got to be kind of cool still. So
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling because it's only supposed to be like in the early 50s this Saturday. Or Friday and Saturday. I'll probably be inside. I mean, if it's really nice and sunny, there is a possibility I'll be outside. But I don't know. It'll depend. Yeah, right.
I'm a guitar player. I hate outside gigs when it's cold.
Yeah.
I hate
hell.
outside gigs, period.
It's hard. Yeah.
Oh, I do too. I actually hope for rain when we have an outside gig. I always hope for rain and hopefully we get inside because
So you
it's
can
just
play
so
inside.
much easier. It's so
Yeah.
much easier. Outside gigs are nice.
It is. Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. It'll really depend on the weather. And the sets are usually about 3.5 to 4 hours. So
oh wow,
yeah.
It's about normal, Dennis. Is that what you play?
Yep, that's it. 4 hours. Yep.
Yep.
Three sets, 2 breaks, and
Well, and
Those
it's
two.
kind of
Go ahead.
it's kind of amazing because like when I first got into this, I was like, how am I going to do this? I don't know how I'll be able to play for that long. And then you just do it and then it becomes like normal. It's kind of crazy.
It's 15 songs. Take a little break. 15 songs. Take a little break.
Yeah.
About 15 songs, and then you're out of there.
Yeah.
You're counting down to that last set's like yes, 6 more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just think how the sound guy feels.
Oh,
Right.
I was on that side the other day. It's
Yeah.
like, geez, it's only what time?
That's where I was this past Saturday, and I do a lot of weekend sound jobs.
Oh, cool.
And that's what I was.
I just listen.
But I have to say, the band that Dennis, actually, the band that I've been following around working with, Dennis covered for me one weekend.
Yeah, it
And
was.
I've done this past Saturday and then 2 Saturdays before. They've added like 15 new songs to the set, and they're all
Well, that'd be
classic.
good.
And they're all classic rock. So
Oh, they're
I think they're working.
Nice.
Well, they've been a country band. You know, and I
Ooh,
think
that
they're
was
trying to
rough
work their
for
way
me.
out
Okay.
of the country scene, which doesn't hurt the sound guy's feelings one bit.
So they never did say anything bad about that job that I did for
No,
them.
they
then.
were. You did a good job, man. I told
Well, I tell
you.
you, I was having a nightmare just learning that we had so much issues at first.
I
was
gave
like,
him
oh,
a digital
these guys are-
soundboard and said, "Here."
I've never run a digital soundboard. I'm so used to the knobs, and it's like, you give me this tablet. I'm
Running
like
it
going,
off my tablet. It's pretty funny.
and then it wasn't even Wi-Fi. At first, I was like going, it's not working. And
Yeah.
it's like,
I
called
was
him-
at the Bon Jovi concert in Nashville.
in Nashville.
And he's calling me up just as the show's starting. We got
I'm
a
going,
problem.
I can't get this thing to work. This is impossible.
That's funny.
Anyway, sorry.
Now, Dennis was going to ask another question when I asked about your
I was.
weekend gigs. Dennis has probably already forgotten.
I already forgot. Seriously. No, I was just going. No, I was going to ask before we got to the gig thing. We were talking about you were going to a different. Would you like to talk about which way you said you were more pop and that? Are you going
Yeah.
to singer songwriter stuff, or are you going? Which way are you going?
All right, folks, sorry for the technical difficulties, but those storms rolling through here have killed our connection with Bill and Dennis, so I guess I'm going to finish this interview up by myself. Dennis asked Erin what direction she was going with her new EP, so take it away, Erin.
All right. So with my album, I'm looking to go a little more raw, a little more possibly some blues, little southern rock influences, maybe a little country. So a little different than the pop sound that I've had for a little bit now. We'll see when I get in the studio what ends up coming about, but that's the direction I'm looking to go towards.
Cool.
Yeah.
As a female working in a predominantly male industry, do you run into troubles finding gigs or being harassed by venue owners or anything like that?
I haven't experienced necessarily like any like harassment or anything like that. And I consider myself like pretty strong and strong-willed, so like I have no problem like talking to people, but I definitely find that it's been interesting going through this and booking gigs because I am predominantly when I play the winery scene, when I look at the schedule, I'm maybe one of maybe the only female musician on there, or maybe one of two female musicians on the roster for the schedule. So I don't know if that hurts my chances at all of getting gigs. I think sometimes it works to my benefit because it's something different, because it is predominantly males that are out there. So yeah, I mean, I haven't noticed too much of a difference yet, but that's just what I've noticed from so far, like just going to the different wineries and being like, oh wow, yeah, I'm the only chick playing and among all these other guys, you know. So
All right. The last question that I always like to ask is, have you seen the movie Spinal Tap?
I have, yeah.
Okay. Well, my question is always, what is your favorite Spinal Tap moment as an artist?
Oh my God. Okay, so the thing is I've seen Spinal Tap, but it was a really long time ago, so I don't really remember the movie. Like I've seen it, but I know I've seen it.
Yeah. Well, basically, a Spinal Tap moment is, what is the worst thing that you've ever had happen to you at a gig, on the way to a gig, during a gig, something like that.
You got it. Okay, so that's easy to answer. So, when I was first starting out playing shows, I booked a gig at a venue I was very excited to play at. It was this beautiful bar that was on the water for the summer, like literally, like, you could see the city in the distance. It was right on the water, like lots of like people drinking outside, getting dinner, like perfect atmosphere. And I didn't really know what it entailed to really make a successful live show at that point, because I didn't really know much better at that point. So here I come in with my small amp, playing to this big venue, and my audio wasn't loud enough. So I was just kind of embarrassed because like it wasn't loud enough at all. So half the people there couldn't hear me. The next time I go to the venue, because I was booked for like 3 or 4 shows there, I bring a different amp to make the sound more powerful. That amp craps out like halfway through my set. So then I'm playing to this one tiny amp again. And so that was just kind of embarrassing. And then third time I was there, I finally had my PA system and finally got it to work. So that was like successful, but it was just embarrassing. And one of those things where I was like, you live and you learn. Right. And it was also like, I felt like I was disappointed just because I know that they were like, not that they were judging me, but it was one of those moments where I was just like, okay, I have some things I have to work on,
Yep.
So I would say that was one of them. I know that's not like huge and embarrassing, but like it was still kind of embarrassing because I didn't have the sound quality, or like I just felt like I wasn't being professional, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So, yeah.
All right, well, tell our audience how they can find you online, where you're playing next. Anything you want to pimp yourself there for?
Yeah, so if you want to head over to my website, it's erinmcmusic.com, so erinmcmusic.com. I'm also very active on social media, so Twitter, my Twitter handle is I am Erin McAndrew, and then my Instagram is Erin McAndrew Official. Follow me. I love chatting with people. I also would love if you guys signed up for my mailing list. I have a link on my website for that, but also on my Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter, there's a link right in there where you can get some free music from me just by putting in your email, and I'll send you 3 free songs of mine. So there's that as well.
All right. Anything else you'd like to tell anybody before we wrap this up?
Yeah, feel free to send me a message and just say hey. And I just love talking about music. I love connecting with people. So, let's be friends.
All right. Well, thanks for taking a little bit of time to come on our show.
Thank you for having me.
This episode, well, we release all of our episodes on Thursdays. So cool. I'll tweet out the link on Thursday and make sure that you're tagged in it.
Awesome. And I will do the same. Thank you so much for having me today.
All right. Folks, thanks for listening and watching to another episode. Check us out on agesofrock.com. We're also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Stitcher Radio. Till next week, peace out. Thanks for listening to the Ages of Rock podcast. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and most importantly, tell all your friends. Remember, you're never too old to rock. Until the next episode, peace out, folks.